Hello, Requiem87, and welcome back to Combat Mission Battle for Normandy. And I was humming and hawing about which scenario to play through, and I thought, you know what, I kind of fancy doing a short campaign rather than individual scenarios, so that's what we're going to kick off today. So we are looking at the Amiens Tonight campaign, which is it's about a 5-mission campaign set in August of 1944 and tracks the Allied push from across the river Seine at Vernon all the way to Amiens on the river Somme. So that's what we're going to be doing. In the first mission for that, this is a Prelude on the Seine. We are with the 43rd Wessex Division and we're looking to expand the Allied bridgehead across the river. So we're going to be pushing through the forest towards the village of Bois-Jérôme, and we can look at the exact objectives and the troops we'll have when we jump into the fight itself. Yep. Perfect, here we are. So we have, with the 43rd Wessex, we have, I think it's 4 companies of infantry, A, B, C and D, which makes life easy. And we will be getting some reinforcements later in terms of brain carriers, a troop of Cromwells, and there's some artillery support comes in as well. Our main objective is to push through this forest, clear out the German defenders, and increase the size of the bridgehead we have over the River Seine. As you can see, there is a number of touch objectives. So we've got phase line duck, phase line goose, and phase line swan. And then we have a number of take and hold objectives. So we have objective Dawn, which is the sawmill. We have Charlie and Beer, which is outskirts of a town, I suppose, a village. And then we have objective Ack itself, which is the town of Bois-Jérôme. And in addition, we have clearing the route along the road for presumably the follow-on forces, which is Jelabad. So we have 2 hours to do it. It's quite a long time. It's really interesting terrain. I've not played in a really heavily wooded map before, because there is not any kind of dominating terrain features that's really going to drive us to hold key positions. I think the real key to this is going to be having screens of scouts trying to identify, obviously, specific German positions, and then once we know where they're holed up, we're going to have to formulate a plan to probably try and maneuver some additional fire angles of attack, or alternatively just smack it with artillery if we have that available. So I don't have a single grand overarching plan that's really going to unlock this entire map. So what we're going to do is I'm going to split my troops essentially to operate as companies. So I've got 4 companies available. First company, I'm going to send up the right hand side of the road here, working through the forest. Again, screen of scouts with the main forces in behind. The second company is going to head up this way on the left hand side of the road, and hopefully these 2 can support each other as and when we come across the German defenders. Third company, I'm going to swing out across this kind of riverbed, far side riverbed, through the phase line duck line here and out towards the sawmill objective. And the fourth company I'm going to have as a bit of a floating reserve, so they'll probably advance slowly, essentially just along the lines of this kind of riverbed, and be able to support either flank as and when required. With the carriers and the Cromwells that are turning up, the Cromwells are probably going to be fairly restricted to the roadway and assisting nearby, because I don't know how easily they're going to navigate through the forest. Brain carriers should have a little bit of an easier time of it, and again, I will probably wait to see where we're getting the biggest resistance before we commit them. Now obviously the tactical briefing indicated to expect some German resistance around kind of objective Beer and the village of Bois-Jérôme itself. We'll have to wait and see what we can find in the outlines. Ideally what I'd like to do kind of long term for this mission would be to push at least 1 company right up the far side of the map, so we can come in and operate a kind of a flanking position on the village of Bois-Jérôme, so we're ultimately attacking it from a couple of directions at the same time. But we shall see. And that's about it. So it's going to probably take us a wee while to get ourselves set up, get our scouts kind of out and about and start combing the map towards the objectives and see when we run into the Germans. And unfortunately my scouts, it's probably going to be a scouting by fire type affair, which may end a little badly for them, but there's not any really other better way to do it. So what I'll do now is I'll go in, I'll put a cut in, I'll put in all my initial orders, get my troops moving, and when we get our first contact, I'll bring you guys back. So, given the size and the scale of the map and the duration of the mission, I was expecting to go probably 5-10 minutes before bumping my heads against the Germans, and in fact I got about 10 seconds until we spotted an HQ team just on the other side of this little valley. So interesting to know whether they are on their own or whether that indicates there is, you know, elements of a company of German soldiers kicking about here. But needless to say, as soon as my troops spotted it, and it was one of the regular squads over here that spotted it, they got stuck in. And it should also worth noting, I didn't mention it in the setup, but I should have done that. I am understrength. I don't have full platoons within my companies. As you see, this one here has, what's that, 8 guys. And there's some better, some worse, but yeah, we certainly don't have full platoons. But the guys out here saw the Germans and engaged. So it looks like, yeah, HQ team. We do have to watch out to an officer with an MP40 in there, but at least we did get the first kill of the mission, which is always a nice way to start things. So what I'll probably do is I'll keep that section applying suppressive fire as we close in with another, so we can try and keep their heads down until we get close enough to see them all and take them out. I think it's very easily for people to go to ground here, hide themselves, and then spring up again with automatic weapons to cause us a whole manner of grief. Good. So I'll not pull this out in its full extent, but I'll maybe bring you back when we're in a position to knock out that HQ team, or if we run into anything else more interesting. I'll see you then. So it's taken a couple of minutes where I've had 2 sections supplying suppressive fire on that German HQ platoon as I move my scouts up, just in position to finish them off, which we do a very good job of. And that's that entire unit taken out, which is a good place to start. I'm not quite sure who they're shooting at there, because as far as I can see, there's nothing but dead bodies. Unless they're not telling me something. Which is good. So that was nice. Didn't really slow us down, and it was good to take out a unit, and we didn't take a single casualty. The only thing, which is worth noting, which please jump back for because I've talked too long, is this. Just to start the minute here, we get some German off-map artillery strikes the ground, which is all the encouragement I need for my men not to be in this general area. So I'm going to grab B Company, who is the one heading towards the sawmill, and I'm just going to push them slightly wider until we see the end of that artillery barrage. So I'll grab all these guys and get them and pull them back at a reasonable rate of knots. Meanwhile, everyone else has, my scouts have started to spread out towards the town itself. No encounters yet, and in addition we have our 81mm mortars. We've got 3 of those off map are now available to us. I think there's definitely going to be challenges in calling them in terms of finding adequate sight lines, but we shall do our best. We've also had a couple of Bren carriers get bogged down, one of which we managed to free, but I've had one right at the start here become immobilized. So it's something we'll just have to pay attention to as we can head across this forested map. Bogging is definitely a concern. And that's about it. So I will say I'm going to skedaddle B Company back slightly and take a wider path. These guys will keep pressing on, and we will come back when we actually find ourselves some more Germans. But nice little warm up there, knocking out that HQ platoon without a loss on our side. Okay, we're 9 minutes into mission in total, and we have found our second German contact. So before we go on and talk about this, interestingly, artillery barrage over here never occurred. So I suspect what may have happened is one of the HQ unit that we took out may have actually been a spotter for that. They may have been actually attempting to call artillery strike on this section of the woods, and then find obviously we killed the HQ commander, and therefore they had no contact. That may have just been a random spotting round, and eventually realised they weren't talking to anyone, and so they cancelled the mission. It's what I suspect may have happened and why we saw that single shell only. However, over here we have found ourselves a German, and as to be expected, He's got himself a machine gun, which, oh, you can't really see. Okay, well, you can just see the bipod there, but believe me, he has a machine gun. And it's actually frustratingly bad positioning. I say frustratingly because I've been caught out being somewhat lazy. So I've just been moving my units up en masse just by kind of selecting the platoon as a whole. And they've ended up just unfortunately bunched together just as our machine gun frontiers open fire. Now we haven't taken any casualties yet, but obviously this is pretty poor play. So I've given various commands for people to crawl in different directions, and we're also going to apply some suppressive fire from this Bren carrier. Hopefully we'll get away without any casualties, but that's, yeah. A bit of laziness catching me out there. To deal with them, a couple of things planned. So first, suppressive fire from this Bren carrier. We also have a sniper who had been moving up here anyway, so he may get himself into a reading position. And do you know what? I'm actually going to get you to speed up for this. So he may get close enough to take the chap out, provided he's suppressed. Obviously, if he's not suppressed, that's not going to end well for a sniper. The third option I've got is I've also planned in some mortar rounds, just on a medium but a quick mission. Just because I talked about earlier, I'm not convinced I'm going to have the greatest sight lines to really use these where I want them, and so I'm keen to try and use them rather than not. So what we'll do is we'll call it in. If we take them out before then, great. If not, so be it. Otherwise, everyone is advancing merrily out and about, not finding much of anything. Yeah, that's all well and good. You guys are still walking along. That's fine. You're part of B Company. So, excellent. Right, well, let's stick around for this and see if we take any casualties, which I'll be kicking myself if we do. Well, no, if we do 1 or 2, I can take that on the chin. That's fair enough for finding a machine gun nest. If we take a lot, I'll be a bit unhappy. The one advantage we've got, I suppose, it's reasonable range. Seem to be getting away with it. Now we've got our Bren carrier getting involved in the action. Hopefully convincing Mr. MG42, presumably, to get his head down. Okay. That was slightly less climactic than I was expecting. Oh. Or maybe not. Check back that in a moment. Have you... Oh, hello. You've not gone to ground yet either. Okay. See what happened to our scouts here. Yeah. Crossing this riverbed, picked off. Fair enough. That's kind of what I expected to happen to our scouts, to be honest. And it's a little bit callous, but actually if I can direct fire at the scout group rather than the cluster of sections I've got back here, then I'm kind of okay with that. Okay, yeah, given we think there's more Germans back here, I might actually adjust this if I can. Yeah, I would have to wait till it starts falling and adjust it, or cease fire and start again, just to perhaps try and embiggen it a little bit if we think there's some more supporting units. Alright, we'll do that.
Hello, check fire.
So it'll take me a minute to cancel it and another minute to dial it in. Meanwhile, you're just getting yourself in position, which hopefully should be able to pick off that machine gun man. I believe in your sniping abilities. And everyone else is doing okay. You keep going forward. You probably just get your head down. And interesting enough, you have a Bren? Yes? Yes. I don't like quite how many of you have your head sticking out. So I'm going to keep you here as support, but I'm not going to bring you in just yet. I'll leave this carrier doing that good work. Maybe let's run it 1 more minute. See if our sniper can't give it a spot at least. Looking for it. He's struggling a little bit. mean, you can see they're shooting over here, can't you? And yeah, okay, heavily forested, fine. But you do have a scoped rifle. Oh. We have lost a spot. He's cowering. Cowering is good. And then we lose him. Okay. But I very much need you to find him. Ah, I sense the problem. My man, you're not going to find many Germans in that direction. That is a bush. It's over there, you need to be looking. Right, we'll give him a facing command after, see if we can't encourage him to look in the right direction. Now, he should have a good line of sight from here. Base there, please. I'm going to keep... You've got... suppress order still on, that's grand. Oh no! I missed that right at the end. We took our first casualty. That's slightly upsetting. You gentlemen, please back off slightly. Let's see if you can head over in that direction. Make sure no one else is walking over this way. No, they're not. That's fine. Okay. All is well and good, and we've actually got some teams over here who can potentially come and assist. Fine and dandy. So you are... Slightly confused as to why one is busy and the other are not. I thought I'd cancel them all, but may just have cancelled one. Let's adjust your mission though. Okay, you are selecting both now. Okay, so we may end up just using 2. Let's make this a slightly bigger circle. Still going to be medium and just quick. That'll have to do. Okay, meanwhile, you guys haven't run into any more trouble. Fine. Alright, so I'll probably go and put a cut in here. If our sniper ever manages to find the enemy, I'll come back and we'll see how his shots get on. Otherwise, I'm going to go check all my movement orders to make sure my scouts are still fanning out and we're still approaching directives from other directions and we don't get too micro-focused in on this one little engagement. Our friend, I have a court kill here. Was complaining about a bush, so I had him crawl forward 1 action square. We could get through the bush and see what's going on. Fortunately, he didn't see anything at all. Before he knew it, he got a bullet to well, be kind and say the head. So, yeah, a bit frustrating by his inability to spot anything there, to be perfectly honest. I appreciate he's very close for a sniper, but still. In other news, we have found ourselves another German position. And as is the case when you stumble across a machine gun nest, our scouts have ended pretty badly. We've lost this entire detachment. Like so. So now notice another German position just in this little wooded area. Which it's not frustrating to have lost both the scouts there, but it's not the end of the world. We can now start to bring some forces to bear on that. We've still got the mortar barrage coming down here, and we might need to use that to help clear this out a little bit. I don't want to just to kind of, you know, advance slowly towards machine gun nests. No other contacts on this side of the map. See how we go. So over here, probably want to do is bring up perhaps one of our Bren carriers first to start putting in suppressive fire, and then again we can maybe close in with a section. Slightly more dangerous than the HQ team, obviously, given that there is a machine gun on the go, but let's do that. If I bring you up to see... Oh, there's some foxholes here. Bring you up to see... Here? Can you go here? Where is it you're trying to shoot at? Just there. If I bring you up to see this position, I'm going to ask you very kindly to... Oh, you are not a carrier with a gun. Okay, don't do that. Okay, that slims the options down a little bit. You are a carrier with a gun. I don't really want to be using my D Company HQ for this, to be perfectly honest. I'm tempted to ask him to get out. But we shall hold off on that for just now. Get yourselves into here and then blow that bush away, please. Or suppress it, I should say. I will need to calm down some of these movement orders. You guys don't walk yourselves into trouble. Fine and dandy, that's okay. And then once we've got you suppressed, we'll push in with sections from C Company here. I think we're getting to the point I might need to be a little bit more careful with how we're planning our scouting movements. I can't afford just to give up 2 pixel trooping every time I find some Germans. Okay. Grand. Well, I think the next minute's probably going to be pretty quiet. Over here, I might advance a little bit through the woods with these infantry, but we're not really going to plan to engage until after the mortar barrage. And likewise, not going to plan to engage until we have this unit suppressed. Meanwhile, these guys are continuing to move through the woods. Oh, one thing is I have learned my lesson and I've changed my infantry platoon formations a little bit, so that even if I do the manual, hey, let's just grab everyone and walk forward a little bit, they remain in a reasonable formation and they're not all incredibly bunched up. So, don't let it be said that I never learn. Good. Okay, so I think I will skip the next minute and we'll come back when we're ready to position to move in on that chap. I believe there's a saying I often use about the best laid plans of mice and men, and it certainly applies in this one. So, as discussed, with some restraint, I was using the Company HQ brain carry to provide some fire support. But I'm not going to get that opportunity. So there is a minefield here, which, yeah, took out HQ, IC, brain carrier. Ouch. That's quite a sore loss early on. So we're going to have to switch up how we're going to deal with this machine gun nest. And I think essentially we're just going to have to do it the quote-unquote hard way, where I take a number of sections. So I'm probably going to grab, was it 13th Platoon from C Company here, and start to approach this from a couple of different angles. As soon as I get someone in providing some suppressor fire, I can then close in with the others, and at the same time we'll probably use elements of 17th Platoon here to again provide some suppressor fire from a different direction, and just if we can keep the head down and then get close enough to finish them off, that is going to have to do. Yeah, that's a sore one to lose a brain carrier at this stage. Oh, 25 pounders now online. That's useful. What have we got? Just one battery of 8 guns though. Okay, that's pretty healthy. We've seen some spotting rounds come in, nowhere close to the target, so we're just going to have to wait on that. And yeah, and I'll get myself to slowly approach in on this group. Also have to be wary that I don't open myself up to another position while I'm trying to close in on this one, which is a bit of a risk because I have no idea where the Germans are. But we'll see how we get on.
Fire for effect.
We've slowly been working away on this position, so I've actually got 2 sections from 13th Platoon area firing, as well as a Brent detachment from D Company borrowed. And it's been a couple of minutes, and this is the first time we actually get a positive spot of anything. We're not just shooting at potential contacts where we know they are. It's possibly the importance of taking manual control sometimes. We do finally get the spot, and you can appreciate how hard it is to see these guys. So if we get right down close, and I appreciate it's a bit of a junky camera, but yeah, here he is. There you go. Not the easiest fell to see. Now, unfortunately, not or so much unfortunate, but this obviously chap has a bolt rifle, which means we do know there is someone in here with a machine gun. So we've seen the machine gun fire. So there's more than just that one man to spot. One man does get taken out though, which is good. Hopefully we've been causing a few more casualties. We do finally also get the fire for effect. You may have heard that for a mortar barrage. However, he also then calls the end of mission. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many more rounds are coming in. we just take a casualty at the very end there? Yes, we did. Must be... That sounds like an incredibly... Actually, I'm not sure where this shot came from.
We're taking casualties.
Picked off from somewhere. Could be a long range shot from over there. But the sightlines didn't look great. Either way, I'll move those chaps out. But, so we're just about closing in on this position. I have got these guys hunting forward to try and take care of the rest of the people there. We'll keep our targeted shots up for just now. I did want to have a look at what's going on with this. You claimed still to be spotting. Okay, I'll just let it go. I feel like this mission's probably a bit of a bust, which is a bit annoying because it's taking a bit of time. I would like you guys to continue to scooch forward. My idea being that if we do a successful mortar barrage, where at least we can just cause some disruption, nothing else, we then get our section kind of exposing themselves, so to speak, after the barrage is complete, and trying to mop up the survivors before they kind of get their wits together, especially before they do any buddy aid. And I will also, let's move gents over this direction, get you out of the way of whatever that was. No other contact over here, we're just slowly advancing towards the sawmill. We'll maybe run it one more minute, see if we get any more contacts on these grey icons here. Or if our mortar barrage actually comes in. Oh. Positive contact, looks like he is running away. Oh, there you are. You have just got bull action. It shows you that this is I suppose it's a bit of an indication the game gives you. Given that the icon is here and the picture is over there, it shows you there's at least another one left, and he's probably over here somewhere because this centers itself amongst all the Germans, or the units in the group. Looks like we may have some remnants to deal with over here. He is continuing to run. I wonder if our scouts can... are they involved? Yeah, this is actually going to work quite well. Now, they've only got a couple of bolt action rifles. And... here he is. Oh, there's two of them. But hopefully if we can pick off another one or two... bolt action... bolt action. So again, none of these chaps have a machine gun. Okay, hopefully they can pick them off. Why do you get your Panzerfaust out? One of them down. Looks like the rest of the platoon is catching up as that icon slowly moves forward. Okay, another one down, but we know there's a surviving member somewhere in there. Okay, but dealt with this area. That's something. Haven't dealt with that area. We need to bring in some assistance. Now, worst case, obviously we're going to get some more Brancais. We're going to get some Cromwells. If we think we're going to take too many infantry casualties, we can also kind of bypass the majority of our forces and then squelch them later, but I'd rather not be too held up. I would like a quick check of the ground here. Can't really see. You definitely had a bolt action. Yeah, all the dead bodies thus far are all bolt actions that we have found. Now, there could be dead bodies we haven't seen. That's definitely happened. There we go. Okay. We need to get rid of all these targeted commands. Get rid of that. That. I think you have only two. And I'd like to go in and try and make sure we clear this out. You guys hunt over in that direction. It's a little bit risky. If someone's surviving, they become unpinned and they have an automatic weapon, you can easily start losing a handful of casualties before you know it. You guys up into that position. Maybe have some sight lines out there. Okay, slowly moving forward. Good. We are just shy of 30 minutes. Yeah, and you guys are done. So that cost me 8 shells on each. Yeah, that wasn't really worth it. Right. let's try this again. That seems useful. Let's go for medium this time. Immediately confirm. 6 minutes. Fine. I'm going to leave this platoon here. I think for these guys, I'm going to bring them down and around and back in so we can keep kind of pushing up this direction. Oh, actually, I'll bring you just over here and then I'm going to spread you out a little bit. And likewise, now that we think we have cleared out this position, we can now advance forward with these guys and then come back in over here. Maybe with you, I'll just get you to hunt slightly up there, just in case that chap is left. And then we'll reorientate C Company here to again start pushing up towards this bend in the road and towards the Charlie objective. Good. Okay, well, tell you what, maybe we'll hang around for 1 more minute just to see if this chap rears his head. Otherwise, I think we're going to call that one to here. Oh, he did rear his head. Tell me who you are. Scouts are doing good work here. It's going to be all the sadder when I walk them into machine gun nest. And oh, hello, we have a surrenderee. With, well, that's an MP40, so maybe it wasn't a machine gun we saw. Maybe it was just an MP40. Okay. Although someone is shooting machine guns. Okay. Alright, so that's another German platoon cleared out. This one's a little more expensive. That cost us, well, 2 directly and about another 8 if you count the Bren carrier. But yeah, we've cleared out that spot now. Happy there's no one else there. Any more dead bodies that you've noticed? Maybe it was just an MP40. Okay. Jolly good. Alright, and we'll call that video there. So I think that's a reasonable start. You can kind of see the way this is going to work out, where it's really just trying to identify the enemy without taking much of casualties and then orientating ourselves to take care of them. But it's yeah, this heavily forested terrain it's really interesting, but it's really tricky. Trying to navigate your squads to try and put enough suppressive firepower on them. But my only concern at this moment in time is making sure I don't... that's what that was. That could have been terrible. Burn through all our Bren ammo, but it seems these guys seem pretty well supplied, so it's not too much of a threat right now. Good. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. We'll be back next time where we'll be pushing on a bit further. Hopefully getting ourselves in some more meaty engagements and yeah, working our way across this map. So as ever, leave your thoughts, comments, and I'll catch you then. Cheerio for now.